brain is essentially in a black box. It's your body that receives signals from the world around you. If those connections are not working efficiently, the snapshot and how you perceive the world is completely different.
Even if I had some sort of anxiety, I was like, I hope I can hold myself together there. So I was speaking, and then my brain would be like, this went so smooth. This is great.
There's the isn't that amazing? Oh, it's amazing. You can say whatever you want, but mental health starts through the body. To really integrate your system, become this whole connection like you are right now, it's just revisiting those sequences that we all went through that got derailed through trauma or whatever, poor neurodevelopment. Who knows how? The blessing is that you can rebuild them.
It almost feels weird now to talk about my body like it's something different from me.
Hi, welcome to Hot Wired. I'm Dr. Jim Costello. For those of you that don't know me, I've been helping individuals rewire their nervous systems from the ground up for 25 years. I'm the founder of NeuroFit Systems and the developer of the Lifeboat membership and community, and I help people with ADHD, anxiety, and burnout recalibrate their systems to become more resilient and move through the world with calm and confidence. On Hot Wired, we help individuals build a body-first strategy to improve their regulation and resilience. For those individuals that have been stuck in fight, flight, or freeze, or just overwhelm, this show is for you. So today we have an amazing individual who has actually started the whole process from my book to membership platform to results that are actually changed his life. And his story is so compelling because what he's going to share with us is really a trajectory that you may not believe is nervous system regulation challenges. I mean, we're talking about, just overwhelm, stuttering, and things of that nature, just a body and brain that are not in sync. What you're going to hear is a trajectory of an individual whose processing speeds were just overwhelming over time, leading to his ability to articulate, developing anxiety, and just really closing him down in the world that he's trying to navigate in.
I'm really excited to hear from this guy. I'm excited for the whole podcast. Like, this is going to be such a helpful thing for people. I know that when you and I talk one-on-one, it like resets me instantly, So I'm excited for other people to get to share that now.
Yeah, it's going to be a special show for sure. I mean, the whole concept of the show is really what it's actually, we're going to be doing my consultations when I talk to people. So I sit back and we're just going to hear their stories and unpack them moment by moment from start to finish. There's going to be some people that have gone through the process that I have created, the Costello Method. And there's going to be other people that are there just kind of raw dogging it, if you would. And we're going to try to find people that just want to take a different approach. And that's, the approach is, a body first regulation, which is different than mindset and thought process and therapy, which are all great tools. But we're going to be talking about not so much insight that changes one's mindset and ADHD, anxiety, and burnout. We're going to be talking about getting access. So most people get stuck in their mental health journey because they have all the insights, but they may not have the access. So what you're going to see, Aaron, is that when we talk to people, we're going to be able to identify little access points and then help them build that strategy. And that's what's really going to be exciting, is helping people help themselves, right? Knowing that, letting them know they're not broken. There's not anything to fix. It's just really a matter of calibration. And I'm stoked. I'm really excited for the process. And today we have a really special guest.
Yeah.
He's a young man who has been through the process. And man, he's got a compelling story. So excited that he is willing to share it with us, and, in hopes that it'll help others, which is what the show's all about, helping people.
Me too. I'm really excited for him to come on. I'm actually really interested in the part where he says that he's been struggling with stuttering, because I have a nephew who's struggled with that somewhat since he started talking,
Yeah.
And I know that he's kind of done like some speech therapy and stuff like that, but even when I see him, it still kind of helps him out. So I'm curious, or that stuff happens to him, I should say. So I really want to see how maybe this process can help him out. He's only 10 years old, I think, right now.
Yeah. And what a what a challenging thing to have a stuttering, right? So it's going to boil down to processing speeds, and it's going to be amazing for our listeners to unpack how movement actually recalibrated the processing speeds so that stuttering is no longer a an issue for this young man. It's pretty compelling. I mean, it's going to be fun to unpack. So with that said, let's go ahead and bring him on in. I'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Lucas Roy.
Yeah, all the way from France.
Yeah, right. Today we have a guest on our show whose journey was absolutely amazing, and I had to have him on the show because of the trajectory that he started with and where he's at today. And I think he's going to resonate. His story will resonate with everyone out there that's listening, because it's one that's super interesting and it shows fortitude and resilience. And I can't wait to get in and kind of unwind where he started and where he's at today. So with that said, I'd love to introduce Lucas Roy onto our show, Hot Wired. And man, Lucas, thank you for being here, and thank you for, being willing to share your story. It is, it's awesome.
Thank you very, very much for having me. And may I just say that I'm very sorry to anybody who's listening, because English is not my first language, so I might make a few mistakes. And also, I'm French. I live in France, so we have this horrible accent. I'm sorry that you have to go through this, but thank you so much for having me. It's an
all right. Are you kidding me? First of all, your English is awesome, and the accent is brilliant. It's just alluring. How's that?
It's alluring, yeah.
It's alluring, right? So
yeah.
you don't get that. But you know what? That's actually like one of the things that just struck me and I got really excited. Was your story about how you the concert and how you volunteered your time, and that was like such a transition. So I mean, that to me is just like a pivotal piece of like why this work is so important. And I always say that people, you're not broken, there's nothing to fix, it's just a matter of calibration. And sometimes we do all these things and we have all these tools, but we just start at the wrong place, and you don't even know that you're starting on the wrong place, right? All the tools work, mindset tools, meditation, all those things. But when you start using the body to integrate the pieces, listen to this story, and you could tell the story just like you're telling it to Aaron. I mean, I've read it in the comments, and I've just like, my daughters, Shane and Tatum, that are in part of the lifeboat family or crew, if you would, they're just going like, Dad, this is amazing. I go, oh, it's unbelievable. So it all brought us to like this place of like, oh my gosh, you are amazing. Tell us a little bit about like your journey. We want to lead up to that story, but tell us a little about how it all started, like when you were younger and when you started noticing things with your stuttering and stuff like that. And share as much as you want or as little, it doesn't matter, because this is your time.
Okay, well, thank you. Actually, well, I have a hard time looking back at myself really through my own eyes. I just know I've always been stuttering, and it's never like really been an issue. But at some point, I was I don't remember how old I was, somewhere between 8 and 15, so it's very large. I was in a car with one of my uncles, and he talked to me about my stuttering, and he went like, "Well, where do you think this comes from?" And he's been talking about the fact that I'm half German, so I've been raised with having sort of two languages that were spoken to me at home. And this is the first time that I kind of realized that, well, people could notice that I was stuttering a lot, and they had themselves questions about it, and I didn't have them. So I was like, maybe I should take a look at what's happening here. And it's always sort of been in the background of of my life, but I've never really taken the time to see any doctor or whatever, because I didn't really know where to start really with this. And but it was always like, at some point I would like to get rid of it. I don't really know how. And then very recently, I think it was last year, I was with a friend, and she said, well, I do notice that sometimes you don't stutter at all. And this is very curious. What is happening here? And so this took me, I think, to the next step. So there were a lot of years where nothing happened, and then I was like, well, I really want to go deeper in this, because it means I can actually work on it. There is something that could work. Mm-hmm. So I was very interested in that.
Got you. Got you. Now, with the stuttering, right, that's one component, and I can explain what that is and put you guys to sleep. But what ends up happening, right, is like stuttering is part of what they call motor planning. So below the stuttering, right, there's going to be processing speeds that are slower than maybe they should be, right? And then if we peel back another layer, then there'll be maybe a little bit of anxiety or nervousness in situations that cause the processing speeds to become altered. And when the processing speeds become altered, you can stream a thought, but your tongue still has to do the work. And that's where there's that gap. It's actually a motor planned event. Right. So that makes sense to me. I mean, we've worked with children and adults with stuttering, and, any key opens the door when your nervous system is overloaded, but you would never correlate those things together. Right. So when you started the journey, can you kind of take us back to like what I see you have a love pin on, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's Chris Martin's, he's part of that. And Dr. Habib Sadehi is, he's a dear friend, and he and Chris have that organization together. It's pretty awesome. They do a lot of great work, man. And so take me back to.
Here it is.
Oh, gosh, it's a magnet. That's good. Yeah, there it is. Awesome. So take me back to like how you discovered the work that I'm doing, and like what was your trajectory from start to finish? What brought you into that door? I don't know if it was stuttering, but was it anxiety? Was it ADHD? Was it you just weren't fit in your body? Give us a brush stroke of that and what that looks like, because I think that's a really that's also another pivotal trajectory that's going to lead to your willingness to go do your volunteer work at the concert, which I think is just like the pinnacle of like, wow, you're a strong, resilient human being, right? I mean, that's like crazy. So go ahead. So how did it all start?
Yeah. Indeed, I think that there was a lot of anxiety and that kind of stuff in me, and I always felt like there was a difference in speed through what my body wanted to say, but my mind was racing very, very fast, and
Gotcha.
it would not green light what my body wanted to say.
That's beautiful.
What I mean.
Yeah.
And so yes, so in parallel to everything I've talked before, I was also a hardcore Coldplay fan. So I've been following them for years and years, and I was actually very lucky because over the course of 15 years, I've been able to see them so in these huge stadiums in which they play, but also when they come here, they do a lot of TV shows and that kind of stuff where you get to see them in a very small environment. And in that environment, you get to be very close to them. And Chris Martin has always been fascinating to me because through the years, I could feel that something changed in him. like he became more and more calm, peaceful, and connected to something, to love, to his own body. And for years, I was like, oh, I need some of that. I wish I could really know what he uses to get better in a way.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, he made a video on his phone where he told all the tools he uses in his daily life to try to process everything. And so this felt like Christmas to me, because it was like a treasure thing. And so he was talking about your method, the Costello method. And so I went online to see your website. I saw you were preparing a book. So as soon as the book came out, I read your book, and I really connected with the chapter indeed called Processing Speeds.
Got you. Yeah.
So yes, that really was like, I feel like I'm reading my own life here.
Oh, that's awesome.
When I finished the book, I was like, okay, I really would like to go further, and so I was aware of the existence of Lifeboat, and I wanted to be a part of it, so I enrolled, and here I am.
Wow, that's amazing. That's like the perfect trajectory, right? That's one. I mean, how we're all connected in this world, one person apart. Chris happened to be that that individual that you resonated with, that opened up the gateway. And it just so happened I was like, the timing of my book just happened to be the timing of my book. I mean, there was no plan of like, oh, I'm launching this in this date. It just, everything came together, which was absolutely beautiful. So you went through our Lifeboat process, and that's where I met our method, where we go through the stage related evolution of neurodevelopment. The movements are fairly simple, but they have such intention and impact that's what rewires your nervous system. So what did you feel like? There's no really, I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but when the nervous system starts to integrate with your body, right, there's no aha. There's just these subtle changes, right? And if you could explain that, because when I tell my clients or I talk to people about it, they're going like, everyone wants that big, like, boom, I'm all of a sudden, here I am, now I have all this energy. But speak to it from your lens. Like, you mentioned, in the community you were talking, and you're like, you went to family events and all of a sudden it wasn't as noisy and you were able to integrate. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I think that's the subtlety of change that is really just so important for people to understand, for you to experience it. And I'd love to hear you articulate that and what that meant to you. And then, because it just builds the picture to that big culmination of the concert. So go for it. Give me some of that little storyline of where you, like, how you just started noticing things shifting and changing.
Well, I think I started to feel different. Basically, like you say, it's like a ladder. So things, there were some things I could feel were different on day one, really, but that I didn't realize until later in the program. I was just doing the first exercises, and then I was like, my head feels kind of dizzy in some way, or and I was just like, well, it's because I was on the floor or whatever. But then I learned through repetition and through doing things over and over again over the period of a few weeks that it was actually a sign of things were working. Really, something was happening in my body which my brain couldn't understand yet, but my body was understanding that.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to put it, right? Yeah, it's just
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like his body was like locked up and stuck and used to being how it's been for such a long time, you know?
Yeah.
And then your body just like starts to release all this tension and stuff that you're dealing with. And um yeah, you just feel
Yeah,
completely different.
Yeah. That term's called bracing, right? That's what we call bracing, because your body is really, it's a first responder to your world, right? Your brain, we all think our brain figures stuff out, and which it does, right? But when we move through the world, your brain is essentially in a black box called your skull. It doesn't smell the world. It doesn't touch the world. It doesn't feel the world. It doesn't do it. It's just this massive tissue sitting in your skull. It's your body that receives signals from the world around you, and how that information comes in through your body, it has to be processed. And if those connections are not working efficiently, the snapshot and how you perceive the world is completely different. So your brain is actually, if information comes in too fast, it overloads the networks, and it pushes the world out and says, "Hey, stop." And it does that through adrenaline and cortisol, right? And what ends up happening is you have this body now that is in this braced position or locked up. You don't even know it. You don't even know your joints are tight and you're carrying tension and all these things. And you said it perfectly, Lucas, that when like your brain and body were not working in sync, so there was like that little buzz and hum that was happening was actually the networks going like, "Hey, we're here, we're safe now, we're safe now." And the more you were doing the groundwork, it's like, okay, it's integrating, and now your body can walk into the world and kind of put messages in more efficiently. So that's really interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And the so if I go through that ladder here, I think I noticed some very big changes also in what you call phase two. So in phase two, there are these steps that are called body control and spatial awareness.
Yeah.
And when I first started doing this, I was like, well, I don't need this because I feel like I'm in control of my body. I'm very well aware of my
Oh,
environment.
that's hilarious. Yes.
And then I did them, and when it struck me was in the gym. Actually, because in the gym you see there are so many machines there to work out, and so
Yeah.
I usually go from one machine on for 5 minutes, and then another one, then another one, then another one.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you have to walk through these because you actually also have to clean them every time. So you have to
yeah.
go get paper and then clean it. And I noticed that when I was doing that, after a few weeks, I was not. Before that, I was bumping into everything, and now it really stopped happening. I'm going smoothly through the machines, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I needed a little bit of body control and spatial
Right.
awareness.
Yeah, because there's no free lunch. I mean, if things are dysregulated, we always think about like mood and emotional dysregulation and anxiety, but there's 3 tiers of that you're going to experience that are going to be affected, and it's going to be your motor planning. So when your proprioception is off, right, that's your understanding of where you're at in space and time. If that's off, you'll bump into things and think nothing of it. Well, that's a sign that your proprioception is not working efficiently. And if that's not efficiently, guess it's tied to processing speeds. So now your processing speeds will be inefficient because your body's telling you that as you move through space and time. And that's going to affect your cognitive efficiency or how you perceive the world. Right. So now you just hit the link, right? That's classic because a lot of people going like, why do I have to do this crap? I mean, I don't want to have to crawl and roll. That's like, I'm working with a client right now and she just goes, this is stupid. I go, okay, it might be stupid, right? But it's a necessary evil if you're looking at starting from the ground up, right? That we have to go through, we don't have to, but to really integrate your system to become this whole connection like you are right now, it's just revisiting those sequences that we all went through that got derailed through trauma or whatever, poor neurodevelopment. Who knows how? The blessing is that you can rebuild them. And that's what I mean by there's no aha. There's these subtleties of change. So that there's your physical proprioceptive subtlety going like, oh wow, I didn't hit that. So there's going to be something else. I know. Keep going. Let's go on that ladder. Keep crawling. Keep climbing.
Real quick, I feel like I need to dive into that section that Lucas was just talking about, because I have this thing where I run into things and then I get like hooked on stuff sometimes, like my belt loop or my shirt, and I get like triggered. I get mad.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? Because it's just ridiculous, and people think they're clumsy, and well, they might be clumsy, but it's not because you're trying to be clumsy. It's just like you're bumping into crap. In fact, I did a thing on Instagram, like one of my biggest views, whatever, was like this ADHD walk. All right, I was just walking around bumping into things, just reiterating like what my clients tell me when we do consultations and stuff. I said, oh, that'd be really interesting, tripping, falling, stumbling on these just ridiculous things. And it's so true. There's actually like, if we're going to go nerd alert on it, that's a neurologic soft sign, right? So that's your body indicating that the timing is off. And, there's cerebellar dynamics and basal ganglia stuff that are part of that. But at the end of the day, it's a physical indicator that your processing speeds might be a little bit delayed with that poor body fit or inefficient body fit. Anyway.
Yeah. Keep going, Lucas.
Next step on the ladder, baby. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Let's keep climbing.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I was at the last steps, and that happened to end up at a moment in my life, indeed, where I was going to see family first, and I absolutely love my family, but I don't know why these moments are not easy for me to process every time. So I was really feeling like it was some kind of test there, and it was really, really crazy because it just went very smoothly, even if I had some sort of anxiety. I was like, I hope I can hold myself together there. And then I did it before I could even realize what I was doing, right? So I was speaking, and then my brain would be like, this went so smooth. This is great.
There's the isn't that amazing? Oh, it's amazing.
That was great. And so that happened first. And then I went to London afterwards. I had a trip there to see a few concerts. And indeed, there I was enrolled for one day to do volunteering there. So I was assigned to a place where I would have to speak to lots and lots of people that would be coming to the concert to get their picture taken then as a souvenir. So I would be talking to them, and as quickly as I could also, because there was a line of people waiting and they were getting their pictures, and then they needed to get off and new people were coming in. So it went very quickly, and I could see the line. I could see, oh my God, there are so many people there, and these people look very intimidating or whatever, that kind of stuff. And then even when those people came, it was all great. I mean, I could just speak with efficiency. It was all everything went faster than my brain could process it. My brain it felt like it was in the back seat, just enjoying the moment.
Oh, gotcha.
And this felt very liberating.
Yeah, and that is like, to me, that's like from where you started with, the stuttering, the dual languages, the French, German, English, right? How you're processing all those things, and when people are communicating with you in different languages and you're trying to translate it back down. I mean, I don't even know how that works because I have trouble with English alone, right? And the processing speeds have to be spot on in order for that to translate without the stuttering history, right? And then the overwhelm and the anxiety. And to me, that story is the culmination of dysregulation and crappy signaling into this just like fine-tuned signal, and the freedom that you had, like you said, you're able to be there and enjoy the experience, as opposed to be so overwhelmed and depressed and push it out, and just the fear of like the overwhelm that occurs, right? Because when you're in environments that you're put into and you're just like overwhelmed, it's like, it's not fun, clearly, right? But that to me was like, okay, this was like the best story from a perspective of someone who's just saying, hey, I know there's something off a little bit. I'm not broken. What do? I want to improve who I am as a human being. And man, you did it. You've done it. You're doing it, right? And like, where are you? I'm just like, for me to be part of that journey, right, is like so special, right? Because you take a pen and paper and you start writing down theories and you start talking about stuff, and there's a lot of the population that say, oh, you're just kind of crazy, Jim. And the other part of the population goes like, oh, I'm so desperate, I want to try anything, right? And then it's like, to have that message transcend to you in a foreign country with a beautiful French accent, with beautiful articulation about where you're at, is something special for me. So I want to thank you for trusting in my process, in my program. So where are you at today, as far as like, if you had to say, oh man, I was this guy 6 months ago, because you're a different human being from 3 months ago, right? I think you can feel that, and you're articulating that, right? So when you I don't want to take you back to the lowest point in time, but when was the turning point in your life where you're like, oh man, you know what? There's something I can feel better. This is not helpful for me. Or what does that look like for you? Because I think, in a fishbowl of your life, you may not have seen anything, but you had to feel something where you said, oh, I got to try to change this, or I want to try to change this. Where were you at then? And who are you today?
Yeah.
That's a big question. That's a big arc, right? Yeah, that's
Indeed.
a big arc. But
Indeed.
we have time, so I'm good.
No, I think
I just need more coffee.
go ahead. Like I think in recent years, I would feel at my lowest capabilities when I would be, say, in when I would try to have a meeting. Let's say I try to organize lunch with my close inner circle, like my partner and his kid, and then also with friends. And those two groups of people have never met each other, and so I'm in the middle of this.
Gotcha.
And when the event happens, then I would be really all at sea, because I'm sort of the center of why this thing is happening.
Gotcha.
And so I would need to have this need to control everything and hope that everyone has a good experience. And I hadn't planned before where we would be going out to lunch. So I was like, well, what are they going to think about this? Is this going to be too cheap for someone? Is this going to be too expensive? And the kid there is 7 years old, and he's like full of energy and going everywhere. And I need my entire focus to manage him, but I needed to manage all of the rest there. So I would feel very, very overwhelmed. And when it's over, I would have both this relief that it's over, but also not being happy with how it went, because I felt like I wasn't showing the best part of myself.
Gotcha.
And so there I felt like, well, this is too this is too sad. I still had a good time, but I wish I could let it go in a way. And so I feel like now I'm more relaxed about this. Like I will be like, well, I will control what I can control, and otherwise I just trust life. I don't feel that need really to be in control. I just trust life. I will control what I can control. The rest, will happen however it will happen. It's all good.
That's beautiful.
And I would rather focus on trying to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Really.
That's awesome. So that's just being in a flow state, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's like
Yeah.
you have the ultimate control by letting it flow.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's that's the goal of regulation of a nervous system, right? It's like allowing things to come in, knowing what you can manage, what you can't manage, what you can affect, what you can't affect, and kind of just allowing life to take its place and enjoying every moment of it when you can, right? And that's amazing. So, in the snapshot of Lucas Roy, right? You were dealing with some stuff that, you're managing, control, whatever the case may be. And compared to how you were initially and how you see your life where you're going now, what would you say was a turning point in your vision of who you are, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but there had to be a transition point where you went like, oh, I have all this stuff, I'm doing all this work, and all of a sudden you go like, whoa, to what you just said, like things don't bother me now, or they bother me a little bit, and I just let them happen. Where was there an identifiable time that like you flipped a switch on that and things just started being lighter? And if you want to say it was because of me and the work that we do, that's fine too. And I'm just kidding. No, but there's a tipping point, right? There's a turning point, and it sounded like it started when you saw Chris. And then you went like, okay, I have to have some faith in what this cat's saying because, I respect him and understand who he is. I've seen his transformation. And then, oh, here's his tools. I'm going to try all those tools, right? But when did
Exactly.
you feel it in your body? And was it the accumulation of all the little things we talked about on the ladder? Or was it a point where you went like, oh, okay, I'm going to handle this way? It's fascinating to me because everyone has a different story, right? On that, everyone has a different perspective.
I would really think it when you talk about this, it brings me back again to my gym, really, where I felt moving like this much more smoothly. And I remember thinking too. So this was around maybe week 5 or 6 through your method, and so it was definitely thanks to your work and your method, really.
Shameless plug.
And
Shameless plug right there. Thank you, Lucas.
and I think at that moment, have you ever read The Power of Now, which is a great book by Eckhart Tolle? Yeah. And when I've been reading that maybe last year or the year before, and I was like, this is great. I understand it, and I want to live my life like this. I feel like my brain was it was looking forward to being like this, to living my life with this philosophy. And then I remember exactly at that moment in the gym, I felt like, okay, this presence, which I understood with my brain, now I feel it. I feel it somewhere in my belly. I feel presence. I feel grounded. I feel there. and I feel like now the whole of my body understood this.
Yes.
And now I can go back not only to what my brain understood, but also to what my body understood then.
So you, my friend, have hit it, right? You hit the nail on the head, as they say, because I'm just like, I gotta take a minute here. What happens is this: you can have all the insight in the world, right? And you did. You had all the insight. You're an intelligent guy. You're reading books. You understand things. You logically put it in its place, and that insight is so important. However, if the insight doesn't have a place to land, right, then it's just frustrating and overwhelming because you feel you understand everything. What do I do to get over that? What's that tipping point, right? So when you bring the body and the lower part of the neurology called the subcortical structures, the stuff that helps us navigate the world, right? You created neurologic accessibility without even understanding what you were doing. And what you're explaining is how you took logic and reasoning that didn't have a place to land, and you opened up the neurologic gateway for access. And when you do that, you have that feeling. That's how you know you are on your way. So all the access now can land, and you can put perspective to it, and you can feel different because when you step into the world, you're not subconsciously locked down, right? And that's a top-down model versus a bottom-up model. And when they meet in the middle, they're Lucas Roy. that's what happens, right? So you become the best version of yourself. You are able to tap into capacity. Your capacity is unlimited. You can keep going and doing and growing from moving forward because there's no lockdown. It'll be ups and downs, but now your body becomes a tool and movement becomes the tool to gain access.
Exactly. I understand that it's always going to be something that I don't want to say that I have to work on it, but it's something that is accessible to me. Like I know how to help my body to, and yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it almost feels weird now to talk about my body like it's something different from me. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
I understand that these are really the same
Yeah.
thing. It sounds so simple to say it, but to actually feel it, to understand it, it's
That's the difference, Lucas, right? Because you're experiencing it. You're experiencing your body and how it helps you navigate through the world. And that's, in some current, when you use mindset models and meditation and things of that nature, they're fantastic tools, but you have to be present, right? You have to be conscious, you have to be aware, and you have to shut your body down so you can get into that state, right? And when you use your body like you're using it to activate your nervous system, it reduces the stress responses so that that flow state, you go into it naturally. And if you do the work like you're doing and you continue to do that and unwind and recalibrate, life changes because you're now experiencing life as opposed to resisting it, and your brain doesn't stay locked in protection without you knowing it and firing adrenaline and cortisol and blocking out things and changing frequencies. You can actually, your senses become more in tune. You are able to experience life a little bit more with ease, and that's the goal, right? That's the goal, and that's what mental health is. You can say whatever you want, but mental health starts through the body. And that's what it is. If you don't include your body in mental health, you're not going to achieve your capacity. That's my opinion, right? So you are living proof. What an exciting journey. I mean, I'm just impressed, right? That you have such insight. Yeah. You have such insights. Fantastic.
thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you for all this groundbreaking
Stop.
insight.
Stop.
I mean,
Come on.
yeah, I mean, it's.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for trusting in the process, right?
Yeah.
Trusting in the process. All right. I mean, I don't. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Because I think that was just an amazing. Like, I'm going to stew on this for a while because it's super fulfilling for me to hear what you're going through. And I mean, if there's anything else you'd like to share to people that might be hearing you, or yeah.
Yes, I think that there is one last thing. It's that probably this is probably like never over in a way. Like you always keep getting better and you keep working on it. But
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to also help me in ways that my brain can't really understand yet, and things that may seem completely separated, but like. Like eating differently, for example. Like lately, I felt like I didn't really crave as much junk food or that kind of stuff, and it's like just one example of something that all these things might change. You just get healthier on all levels, right?
You do, yeah.
I'm getting really excited about this, and I want to keep going.
Oh yeah, your journey is you're on the way, right? And here, when you look at it, I'll just add this real quick. If you look at our senses, sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, and then gravity and momentum, which makes up what they call proprioception. When your body's bracing, or it's under, your brain says, "Ooh, this is a perceived attack," or whatever the case may be, right? You can get stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. In any of those, you're going to be releasing a lot of adrenaline and cortisol. And if you think about it and you break it down, what does the brain's fuel that it operates on is the simplest. It's just sugar, right? It's glucose. That's what the brain needs. And when you're dumping a lot of adrenaline and stress hormones and things of that nature, it needs a lot of it. So that's why we crave what I call white death, which is, refined sugars and flour, right? That is like horrible stuff, and it's junk food, right? But it becomes fuel for the palate because that's what your brain's asking for. So your tongue and your taste buds actually change. You can't even palate like fresh vegetables and things of that nature because it's not part of the fuel that innately your brain needs to function at the pace it's functioning at, because it's functioning in survival. Right? That's like behind the scenes, that's going on behind the eyes. So when you start having a system that regulates and the sensory mechanisms begin to integrate and improve, your taste buds change with it. So the innate intelligence of your body says, hey, you know what? We're working on better joint ranges and ranges of motion, and we need more fluid here, and we need, more power coming through the nervous system to heal it. So we need more minerals, we need more protein, and all of a sudden there's this organic and natural trajectory of change in your diet, and you start fueling your body for growth and capacity as opposed to survival. And that's what you're going to experience. So yes, your entire health has to change. You may not realize it, but the work that you're doing is changing your center of gravity. So that's how your body moves through the world, is it's understanding a new center of gravity. So your posture is going to change. Your body's going to be more upright. You're going to be looking straight ahead, better eye contact. You can't do one without the other when the nervous system is improving how it regulates. So you get the benefit of all of that without even realizing that's happening. It's just it's the most miraculous process of the human being. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable, right? Yeah. So I'm stoked. I'm happy. I'm excited for you. We're gonna keep in touch and keep
Very excited. Yeah.
And keep this journey going. And we're gonna have you back on talking about stuff that when you have your aha moments or those subtleties, because I think they're super just amazing to me. Amazing.
We can do a follow-up with Lucas in 6 months or something.
Yeah, right.
That'd be cool.
Maybe his accent will get better. No, just kidding.
Fingers,
Your accent was awesome.
fingers crossed.
It was awesome. All right. So with that
Yeah.
said, we can just, I'm like super grateful and so appreciative for you sharing.
I just want to say thank you for anybody listening, everybody at Lifeboat, all the other people we've been talking to over the past few weeks. It's always something I look forward to every week. So thank you to you, thank you to everybody on Lifeboat, on your team, and we will see each other there every week, right?
All right. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you.
How do you say merci d'avoir rejoint le podcast?
Merci beaucoup.
Okay. I have no idea what you're saying, but it sounded really good.
Je parle un peu de français.
In 6 months, we make like 5 minutes in French.
That'd be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm counting on it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Have a glorious
Have a great
weekend.
day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.